Okay, everybody, welcome back for the third race of the evening here on Castlevania Speedruns. It's another Castlevania 4 80% race, this time with KenshinTrek versus Cypherin. And once again, I'm joined by my compatriots, my former opponent, and once again commentator, twice-time commentator, Lord Fancypuss.
Hello, and GG to you, Retrophile, for an excellent race, messy as it was for both of us.
Oh, I can't wait to go back and watch the carnage. It was pretty awful overall, but it is not us today on this race. We are here for Kenshin and Cypherin. KenshinTrek, honestly, hands down the favorite going into this, and he's probably going to put on one heck of a show for us. He puts up some fantastic times, has been grinding the game really well, and is going to do really well overall in the tournament. A specialist in whip only. Let's see how that plays in today. But Cypherin, however, I think is someone that's returning to the game. So I don't know too much about them as far as what their past is. Do you have any insight on Cypherin?
I know that Cypherin is coming back to the game, and he will be one to watch. They are a very experienced speedrunner overall, and so definitely has a lot of experience there, and so it should be interesting.
Agreed. I'm looking forward to seeing what this race holds for us today. No one has done a deathless run today, however. So you took a death in yours, I took deaths in mine. Maybe this will be the run where we'll see a deathless one happen for one of these competitors.
I would love to see it. That's always hyped to see a deathless CB4 run.
Okay, both runners appear to be ready. I'm going to go ahead and initiate the countdown here momentarily. And here we go. And I've just sent the 10 off to them. We should see them starting off here shortly. And we wish both runners here the best of luck. Cypherin on your left, KenshinTrek on the right. And away Kenshin goes here. Cypherin will be starting here on his side here shortly. We'll get the stream synced up.
Yeah, KenshinTrek, one of the a guy who has been helping a lot of the newer runners out, a veteran speedrunner of the game. I'm sure you're going to see a lot of skill from him today. Maybe some tricks that you hadn't seen before tonight.
That's what I said when he came into this, that Kenshin is going to show us how to play the game properly, because I expect a heck of a showing from him. I would be very surprised if the time that he posted up, not to put him on the spot here, would be above 36 minutes. So he'll put on a show, I'm sure.
Absolutely. I wouldn't expect any less, but you never know. The Castlevania 4 80% is never a free run, so anything can happen, and frequently things that you do not expect to happen do. So
agreed. Again, it comes down to adaptability, knowing those backups, being able to execute and doing their things overall. Looks like Cypherin's timer didn't get started. That's okay, no big deal. Again, we're just here for exhibitions and just showing the game off overall. So thank you for syncing this up as best as we could here. We'll see them kind of go in and do synchronized ring swings there, but overall not too bad. Cypherin, I think, will put on a pretty good showing as well. I know that they've been de-rusting and doing their thing, but it's going to be quite the mountain to climb here as far as facing Kenshin. I would be nervous for what it's worth.
Yes, I have faced Kenshin in a friendly match or two, and have not come out as the winner. So he's definitely a skilled opponent for sure.
Agreed. Both of them still pretty close overall here in the stables. You can see some slight separation here, just with some cleaner movement on Kenshin's side. I'm curious to see what boost we're going to go for. Let's see if Kenshin goes for the Medusa boost. These are kind of tough. And yeah, there it goes. With using the limp whip and actually being able to kind of freeze them in place, they're a lot tighter than they look, and he gets both of them.
I know a lot of very skilled runners who who do not know how to do the Medusa boost. I count myself among them. If I could call myself skilled, they're very challenging to pull off.
And Cypherin, unfortunately, taking an unfortunate death. I think he fell through one of those fall through blocks there, so he loses his cross, but gets a Medusa boost of his own there. Check that out.
Going for some backup dagger strats. One of the if you can't have the cross, you get what you can get.
Yeah, exactly. Kenshin doing a really good job there on Rodain, getting a quick kill. Looks like a sub 240 orb grab, so very, very good. Cypherin, however, has the knife to work with. Probably just gonna opt for the whip. Looks like he's trying to do some whip knives here in the process, try to get some extra little DPS in the process. And a whip knife, or usually what you would hear is a whip cross. What that is actually hitting the cross and the sub-weapon button on adjacent frames. So one frame later, you'd whip, and then hit one frame later the item button, and basically the animations stack on top of each other, and you'll see the sub-weapon come out with the whip. It's quite nice.
Yeah, handy little trick to have in your arsenal. One that I don't have a good handle on, but I've seen you pull off pretty successfully on your runs, Retro.
It's a fun thing to kind of learn, because the only thing that you have to kind of like tell your body to do is kind of just stagger it that one frame, because gripping them both at the same time does nothing, and that's kind of like what you want to avoid. Once you get that rhythm down, it's not too bad. Kenshin, however, making quick work of 2-1, moving on to 2-2. Going to be jumping and throwing some crosses, taking care of some birds overall. Cypherin, however, with some pretty low health. I mean, he's skipping the backup meet in 2-1. I may have gone over there for that just to kind of get a small refresh. We'll see if he takes things a little more cautiously. And he swapped out his knife for another piece of hardware. He's got himself an axe.
Yeah, and he was using that axe to great effect earlier. He threw it and actually hit both of the lizards at the same time. It was a pretty slick little move there.
You know what? I think that axe trick shots should be a thing in this game, because there's some really cool things you can do that you just don't see in the run that you can do with the axe. That it just looks so nice.
We need a new category. Sounds like.
Yeah, axe percent. I always thought about like different sub weapons and like forcing people to do it, or like trying to kill Drac with dagger only, if that's even possible. But that being said, Medusa, you blink, you miss it. There it is, Kenshin with a textbook kill. Very quick and well done, with plenty of health to take all the boosts here on the river.
And Cypherin getting the cross back, grabbing the backup cross in stage 2, which is pretty much on the route to the boss with very little time lost. So he should be able to recover here.
It's actually in a very convenient spot too, because you have yourself a large pot roast or pork chop, large pork chop. That's it. That's the wall meat that we see there. So we refilled a good chunk of his health. He got some meat on the bridge as well, but it looks like he sustained some damage. So hopefully Medusa's kind to him.
And picked up the double multiplier. Picked up the double multiplier on the way there for good measure.
Unfortunately, getting steamrolled and bulldozed by Medusa in the process, taking a pretty good chunk of health here. So he's gonna have to skip a lot of these boosts. But he does have a double shot cross going into this, and Kenshin making quick work of stage 2 on to stage 3.
You notice there the hand grabbed Cypherin, and that hand, while it doesn't do any damage, it drains your hearts, and that's not so bad. But what is bad for a speedrun is the lag that it causes, and so that was a little unfortunate.
Yes, ideally, if you walk into the river with 0 hearts, which is what we go for, the hand will just kind of grab you, give you a good pat on the back, and then just go off its merry way. Kenshin making very good work of the good Mudman patterns there, jumping over top and whipping downward. That's actually a bit of a safe strat to do that. Basically, if you hit a fully formed Mudman, that does 4 bits of damage, whereas if you hit one of the medium-sized ones, it only does 3, so that can actually help. And again, health conservation in stage 3 is kind of paramount.
Absolutely. One of the biggest reasons why stage 3 is so technical is because of having to deal with the random movements of those mudmen. They can walk in any direction they choose, left or right, and you're just kind of left to deal with whatever situation you run into. It can be kind of random.
And here we see Kenshin setting up for the ring glitch, getting it on first try. Very well done. Also getting the full extension on that one, so his positioning was perfect. And he is putting on a clinic here, folks. Very, very good pace all around. Cypherin on his side, quite good. Cypherin on his side, Making pretty decent work of the 3-1. However, he may want to kind of conserve some of his health going into the 3-2. And Kenshin onto 3-3, one of the best jams of the game.
With the Yaz flute, one of, I believe it is my favorite track of the whole soundtrack. A very nice eyeball boost there. I don't know if we got a chance to see that. I think I got it on my run earlier, but a new trick that I've learned as well.
I went for it and failed it, but
no.
just by a little bit. That was a bit disheartening, but hey, like I said, I redeemed myself later in the run. That being said, Kenshin doing a really good job overall. There's still some other stuff. I know that he doesn't go for some certain things here, especially in a race. He's not going to go for the ring snap, which is a small optimization you can do at the end here with this ring bat by going to the right and snapping her up on top of it and just kind of popping yourself up, avoiding those 2 jumps on the left side. However, it looks like he will go for the dragon boost. No, he's just going to take it the safe way, but we'll see another ring glitch. And he gets it, setting up with it with very nice positioning overall, kind of pointing that toe out to the edge of that block and jumping up, taking care of the birds. He's got more than enough health going into the Orphic Vipers here. Should get himself a nice quick kill. Cypherin not going for the eye boost. Health not looking so great here, so I imagine he's going to take things pretty safe on this White Dragon.
We did see him earlier get the ring glitch on the waterfall climb just prior to this. So that was good to see. But he does have some time to make up here.
And also a fantastic kill. The Orphic Vipers, Cypherin getting sniped by the merman in the water. He pulled out the Super Soaker and took care of him and then back boosted him into the water. You hate to see it.
The other big RNG on this stage, those mudmen, or the mermen swimming around.
Yeah, they can have some pretty bad positioning, and if you don't watch yourself, that can definitely happen. But that being said, Kenshin on his way here into the Abandoned Fortress, Stage 4. He'll be making his way up to Poexel here shortly, as Cypherin kind of works his way through. Now, the good news is he took a death here on the first screen of 3-3, and that's not so bad. However, if you go past this point, which he's about to, you get a checkpoint. You take a death beyond here, that's pretty bad because you can't get your cross back effectively until stage 5. You can get at stage 4 pretty late, but it takes a very, very long time to get to since it's in one of those elevator sections.
Yeah, no one likes an auto scroller in a speed run, and that's effectively what that section of stage 4 is.
Cypher doing a great job. They're getting a nice D-boost. However, not waiting for the camera to move up to actually get in there and get that ring glitch. So you actually end up spawning the second bone dragon. What basically happens is if you get up there and let the camera shift its way up, there's a fireball that's on the screen that will actually override the sprite limit, and it cancels out having that second bone dragon spawn in the process. And look at this. Look at the swag on Kenshin's side of here, having the ring glitch method for the room where we all ducked in. Oh, okay. I thought he was going to hold on to it and start chucking crosses while laying back.
Yeah. Yeah, Kenshin is definitely a function over form player. He prefers doing it faster than doing it flashy.
Agreed, which is why we're not going to see him go for the zip in 4-4 for what it's worth. Now, I thought he was going to make an homage to Joe D'Amelio there by, trying to throw crosses while in the ring glitch section, but nonetheless, taking it nice and easy. And on the left side here, Cypherin taking out the Orphic Vipers pretty clean and easy as well, moving on to stage 4. So, Lord Fansbus, what's your thought here about where these people stand? Cypherin had a pretty rough start, but Kenshin just blazing a trail here, kind of doing as we expected, showing all the things, and doing pretty decently. Do you think that this momentum is going to maintain?
We will see. I mean, Kenshin is a very consistent runner, and so I would absolutely expect to see him keep up this level of skill. However, again, anything can happen, and so we will see what comes of it here. I certainly hope to see a deathless run from him, but we'll see what it holds.
That would be the first one of the night. Now, not to wish any ill will upon anybody at this point, I would actually love to see what Kenshin can do if something bad would happen and how he actually would recover from it, because he's consistently a very, very good runner. I think that he would be the type of person that even if he took 1 or 2 deaths, that he could still put up an amazingly impressive time. I think he's one to watch going into the tournament because consistency is key. And Cypherin taking care of Poexel as well will be coming into the Mode 7 room as Kenshin makes his way to Coronat.
Yes, again, one costly death on Kenshin's side could bring the race a lot closer, for sure.
Agreed. All right, so again, Kenshin not opting for the zip, so having to wait for these patterns here overall. Not too bad for what it's worth. And going into Coronat now. Opting to go from the left side. Usually you don't see that. Usually a lot of the setups are on the right side, but still stacking those crosses nice, getting a lot of quick damage and making quick work of Coronat. Let's see if he can grab himself an early orb potentially.
Clearly an effective strategy there.
Ooh, he was forced to jump a little bit earlier there at the apex of that platform, but overall not too bad. A very nice stage 4 from KenshinTrek.
Yeah, that orb grab is entirely up to chance. There are very few strategies you could do to improve your chances of being able to grab that orb early.
It all comes down to when you actually kill Coronat and also how fast he actually decides to get off the screen in the process. But sometimes if you get lucky, you can grab that. And it saves a handful of seconds.
Oh, and the Harpies not being very kind to Kenshin, actually approaching from the left side on that first entry point, which is very kind of unusual. I don't see that very often.
Oh, and also giving one a hug in the process. Man. Lots of deliveries from Amazon today, folks.
Must be Prime Day.
Kenshin taking care of the top bone pillar that was my enemy that I gave a hug and taking the D-boost the way it's supposed to be. Let's see if he'll throw a safety cross, and he does, and he did not need that insurance. No Harpy showed up in the process, but he's got plenty of health to take these D-boosts on this screen. Jumps up top, grabs the bat, and takes also the boot off the Skeleton Knight too, so very nice.
Yeah, it's quite good.
Cypherin on his side, getting through the elevator section, going through the crushers, and working his way up toward Coronat as Kenshin is about to enter Castlevania in Stage 6. Castlevania proper, I should say. All right, folks, the game truly begins in Stage 6, and it looks like an abundance of crosses is the way that Kenshin handled the opening.
For those of you familiar with the original Castlevania, this is actually a retelling of that story, and so the stage that Kenshin is in now would be the very first stage of the original Castlevania, where you're coming in through the main corridor of the castle.
It's actually a very cool reimagining when you kind of look at it, the retelling of it, and it's interesting to think that out of the 4 mainline Castlevania games, discounting the Game Boy ones at the time, that this is the 3rd time you play as Simon Belmont. But this is hands down one of the best versions of him, where he's most capable, able to whip in 8 directions, able to have a lot more functionality. He's figured out how to break physics and be able to adjust himself in midair, and quite good. On the chandeliers here, Kenshin putting things out there, taking things a little bit safe on the last one here, it looks like. So it'll be a 2-cycle, I believe, on his side. But still, overall, any time that you make it through there deathless is always worth it. It's just to take things a little bit slower, that's for sure.
Yes, those it is possible to do that in a single cycle, but that is a very risky trick, because if you fail and you don't back out, it could mean a quick death, and a very costly one at that, just because you have to start over at the very beginning of the level if you die there.
Cypherin getting the troll harpy, but avoiding it in the process. Kenshin lining up here for the bat boost. Sets himself up. He has told me that his visual cue on that one is actually like the little stalactite or icicle that kind of hangs down on the right side, it looks like. And that works pretty well overall, but a pretty clean first screen there in that section. And now moving on to some of an oddly scary area here. It's a precarious where you have to kind of stand on top of these crumble blocks, and obviously the game wants you to move quickly. Not setting up any crosses, just opting to use whip only. Again, this comes back to his comfort level in that whip only category. And those fundamentals are definitely going to help him do very well, it seems.
Yeah, one of the big mistakes one of the things that happened on my run was I relied on the cross setup in that section, and the cross hit the candle and that skeleton at the same time when I wasn't expecting it, and it did not kill the skeleton, and it knocked me back down onto the spikes. It's a thing that can frequently happen in this game. A lot of kind of weird things that you have to be aware of when you're running this game, just some of the technical little bits of minutia that you have to deal with.
Agreed. It's really weird that basically every situation that you come across in this game, you have to tackle a certain way, because there's a safe way to do it, there's a fast way to do it, and then there's a really fast way to do it. Usually, like, there's multiple strats for each enemy or each screen, and sometimes people have multiple save states when they're practicing just on single screens, which is pretty crazy. Now, that being said, Cypherin making it into the castle, going through the chandeliers on the fourth one here. Looks like he's going to be getting through here nice, clean, and easy. Kenshin taking that table boost since he has plenty of health. Pretty decent dancer patterns to get around. And moving on to Fred Askair and Paula Abgul.
Our favorites.
Extremely fast kill. What I kind of judge by that is where you see the fire on the screen. And that was on the right half of the screen. So very quick and early kill. Very well executed.
Very nice. And then we'll be taking this on to stage 7, which we may see some very interesting strategies in this one.
Cypherin having some difficulty with his health.
What is going on there?
He has glitched the wall, and no wall meat for Cypherin today. The man is on a forced diet. No pork chops for you. Cholesterol runs in the Belmont family. And not today, so he's gonna have to work with it.
Dr. Acula's orders.
Dr. Acula, I love it. Oh, so good. Well, he's gonna have to play it kind of safe this time around, but let's see if he can make it through.
All kinds of strange. Again, we were just talking about like the technical minutia of the game, and then sometimes you flip a bit the wrong way happening on the back end, and it can cause all kinds of strange things to happen. Rare, but possible.
Agreed. And it looks like Kenshin getting himself a nice pattern to work with here in the books. Will he go for the book jump, or he's going to opt for consistency? He didn't set up for it, so yeah, it looks like he's not going to go for it. I am slightly disappointed, but I understand the call behind it. He wants to keep that deathless thing going, and again, it's like you said, it's function over form, and he's going to go for the take a couple seconds in the process to take the guarantee versus taking the risk.
Absolutely. A different philosophy in runs. We love the swag, we love the Triforces and the ring glitches, but we're here to run it fast, so we appreciate that.
It's a pretty tough game. I mean, if for those that are listening to this and watching right now, and like you're looking at like, oh, I could never speedrun, I can't do this. This is actually kind of cool to get into, because even if you just do small things or find small optimizations, it's quite enjoyable to do overall. And I can highly recommend this as a first speed game, because there's a lot to learn. Just take it stage by stage, and you'll enjoy yourself. I definitely promise you that.
Man, Cypherin taking a very aggressive approach to the caskets, leaving him with very little health. Let's hope that we don't have a bad dancer pattern that could cause a death here. Kind of sitting on the edge of my seat.
And on Kenshin's side, he's on Sir Grakel. By the way, took the D-boost strats going through the hallway. Did a really good job. If you take 2 boosts through there, you can get through it very quickly.
Cypherin handling it very well and grabbing the 1-up to boot. About to finish off the dancers.
He's got plenty of health to work with here, and it kills him about mid-screen, so still, that's a very good kill. And we have synchronized boss kills here, too, because it looks like Kenshin himself is advancing, so Kenshin has a 1-stage lead going into stage 8, as Cypherin going into stage 7.
We'll be watching Kenshin very closely on this stage. There are some very risky strats that you can do in stage 8. I'm not expecting to see very many of them, knowing Kenshin's play style, but it will be interesting to watch.
You think he's going to go for top route possibly, or just going to just go for the consistent thing? He didn't go for the D-boost there, so.
I would say, if he boosted off that eye, then we would have probably seen some of the more risky stuff, but, that, again, you make one mistake, you've ended that run, or you've got to take a death, and it'll cost you.
Well, looks like he's done a pretty good job, though, overall. He did a nice little variation of the boost off of it. Got some nice damage boost frames. Again, boosting here, guys, is much faster than walking. And it's good. That's why you see it all over the game in the process. Cypherin on his side going for the books. And KenshinTrek moving on to the Bat Bridge here. Vegas Bridge looms, so I'm looking to see what pattern he gets for that. I fully expect he's not going to gamble on it. He will wait for the second cycle. But we'll see what pattern that he gets. If Vegas wants you dead, it will kill you.
No doubt.
Ooh, Kenshin taking a slight error there, getting stuck on the stairs and getting hit by the Medusa. Definitely not what he wanted to do there in that screen. This is the first time I think I've seen him get somewhat flustered in the run here, but obviously very quick and easy recovery and no major harm done.
And Cypherin opting not to take the rosary in that room to kill the Axe Knight, but facing him straight on. And he is well on his way to getting to the stage 7 boss here.
Kenshin setting up for Vegas Bridge, walking through these spikes here. These are all instant death. Had to kneel there for a second, so he's going to go and wait very carefully, watching them kind of lay themselves out. Ooh. The fifth. I always keep eyes whenever I'm walking through. I keep my eyes on the 5th and 6th blocks there because those are that's my key to freedom. And they were pretty aggressive for him as far as trying to get out of there. But he makes quick work of Frankenstein and moving on to stage 9.
Yeah, if you can get Simon's feet on one of the last 2 or 3 blocks, a lot of times you can make the jump to safety, but it can get a little sketchy.
Absolutely agreed. Sir Greycool on Cypherin's side. So we see Kenshin has conquered the dungeon, and it awaits for Cypherin here on this side. KenshinTrek into the treasury, throwing some nice crosses here, taking care of the bats that are above, and also the skeletons themselves. And we have a nice little D-boost coming up here that he'll take. He's going to drop off the stairs here and duck to push his hitbox downward. Oh, he opts for a different strategy entirely. Wow. Very fancy.
I like fancy. That was pretty nice. That was quite good.
That was not what I was expecting at all. He actually opts for the health conservation and does a very, very interesting strat. I don't think I've ever seen anyone else do before, of taking it in that direction, but very nice.
Absolutely. Cypherin now making his way through stage 8. Has not taken a death here, so he is still going strong. We'll hope that continues for him here.
Ooh, he was opting for a D-boost there, surprisingly, on the eye. He's got to be feeling a little bit here that he knows who he's up against. He knows he's taking some deaths. He's going to try to save some time. There is some artificial pressure that's kind of mounting here at this point. But Kenshin obviously pulling out all the stops and doing things very, very well and very consistent. Strong play overall. And yeah, he's making quick work.
And Cypherin taking some damage off of the blood or the slime in the pit to use the invincibility frames to walk right through that pillar to get the meat. Definitely making it through the first room of stage 8 here.
Taking some small damage there in the process. Now, I guess we can talk about the regional differences between the Japanese and the Super Nintendo release of this, and a lot of it can be seen within stage 8. And the main thing is that the water or the muck, that was in stage 3, it was green. It was actually tinted red and, clearly blood in the Japanese version. And a lot of people prefer to run that version just because of that major difference. And there's also some subtle stuff, too, that was in there.
Yeah, you'll notice that Cypherin is playing the Japanese release while Kenshin is playing the US or the Americas release. And so you'll notice in the UI is slightly different. That's one of the differences. If you're able to hear, I guess you're only hearing one runner at a time. Sound effects are slightly different. They're just minor aesthetic changes.
Yeah, the whip has a more metallic or chainy sound in the Japanese one, where it's a little more subdued in the American release. Cypherin betting on Vegas and getting it. What a show!
Look at that! Wow, rolling the dice. I'd love to see it.
Yes, you got to go big or go home, and it pays off. Jackpot for him. Very, very well done. And KenshinTrek making quick work of Zapbat on that side. Stage 9 done, maintaining that one stage lead. Amazingly so and very consistent. Both characters, or both runners here, grabbing the orb and moving on to the next stage.
Seeing a lot of variety of gameplay tonight. Really enjoying all these different runs, seeing how these different runners handle the stages.
Agreed. Right, you are. So, Cypherin moving on to Treasury. KenshinTrek moving on to the obligatory clock tower. One of the shortest stages in the game, but again, one of the most technical. We'll see what strats he takes to get through this. I imagine they will be fast, but mostly consistent. And he's on a heck of a tear right now. He's at the 27-minute mark, so he's doing a great job. This is a great pace. Almost got pushed off by that skeleton, but was able to stand his ground.
Getting very aggressive with these skeletons. Those are some very scary strats. I'm biting my nails figuratively here, watching Kenshin take on those skeletons toe to toe.
Literally toe to toe, literally standing in front of them, the toes touching while just holding the whip in front of its face until it dies.
That's right. Get a little too close for my comfort, but Kenshin's a very experienced runner and can handle it.
Opting not to take any of those boosts there off the Medusa heads, kind of conserving some of his health, not doing ring to ring, but actually getting himself up on the stairs. Very nice. Taking a little, some small damage there from the Axe Knights. This screen alone has just so much going on in it.
I'm very curious to see if Kenshin goes for any of the major skips here.
Well, he missed a whip on that whip ring there. Cypherin on his side, however, getting the checkpoint in stage 9, so that's good to see.
So Kenshin standing and whipping that bone dragon to death.
Kenshin going for a different strategy, however, opting to jump up. Wow. Okay. So as opposed to just kind of holding himself on the ring, he goes and collects some additional hearts. Does the clip through the floor.
Oh, but takes a hit and is not able to grab it as it goes up further, so loses a little bit of time over the ideal strat there.
There was a nice little minor adjustment there that you may have missed where he actually grabbed the ring a little high up, causing the bone dragon to spawn a little bit later than normally he would, which actually changes the pattern that you have to actually pull the whip up or down to determine, where to go. And he avoids the fire, because if you take that hit, you're going to lose some time or potentially die in the process. Mummy giving him the bad pattern in the middle of it, walking forward. He's going to hold down the jump button and try to lock himself in place, possibly. It doesn't look like he's doing that this time around. This looks like this will be a 2-cycle based on this, and Kenshin will be moving on to Stage B, sub 30.
Cypherin needing to take visit the secret room, of which I had to visit twice in the run. But on his way to finishing Stage 9 here. One thing I would say, Retrofile, you brought up... you brought up like the different small technical things, and if you're not familiar with the run, you're seeing a lot of jumps, a lot of cross throws that may not be hitting enemies, and majority of those are intentional. They're setting up things and moving the screen in certain ways. There's a lot of technical things that aren't necessarily killing enemies or jumping over pits.
Yeah, everything is calculated in some way, and just to kind of put things in perspective, JC right now is currently going through and doing a deep dive, like masterclass tutorial of world record level strats for every stage, and he literally spends sometimes hours on just one stage breaking things down and going over things and drilling it. Like, he's on, I think, day 3 now. I don't know how far he made it on the tutorial today, but last I saw he was working on stage 9, so... It's hours in. There's a lot to this game. There's a lot of meat on this bone. A lot of wall meat on this bone. And
I like it.
Yes. So it's something that you don't have to do all these crazy strats. You can start off with very consistent, safe things. The game is designed in such a way that if you stop and whip things carefully, and since you have access to whip in 8 different directions, it makes things very easy to do so. And then once you start kind of adding damage boosts and skipping candles and stuff like that, you'll see your time start slowly coming down. But it's a very rewarding process, a great game for you guys to get into. And hopefully those that maybe have been sitting on the sidelines just watching, seeing these races will maybe inspire you to jump in. And the community is really great and willing to help out. That being said, Cypherin, left-hand side, taking care of Zap Bat. And moving on to the clock tower, where we see KenshinTrek in stairs boss right now, doing a good job. Decently enough at the top. He'll be facing Slogger here momentarily.
You bring up the fact that it's easy to stand and whip, and Simon has all of the different abilities and ways that he can move. And I think there's kind of a camp of folks that like the old style Castlevania whipping in one direction. Kind of feel like this game is too easy. And I definitely beg to differ being the speedrunner of this game.
I think that's really when the game really changes overall, is that when you start crossing that boundary where you're trying to intentionally go fast rather than playing entirely 100% safe, that's when this gets pretty rough. Kenshin doing a really good job here using a very safe pattern of crosses in Phase 2 and taking quick care of Slagra, even though he tries to be as aggressive as possible.
Very quick Slugger kill, probably the quickest one we've seen tonight. Although I didn't see your Slugger kill, Retro.
It was not that good, I can guarantee you that. But that said, Cypherin on the left side here, making his climb on the second last screen, opting for the really dangerous strat and not pulling himself to the side. That's going to be a big time loss there on his side. That's got to hurt, but I respect him for going for it. That's definitely a difficult strat. Kenshin taking quick care of Gaibon, moving on to death. 2 to go. He's at the 32-minute mark at this point. This is going to be possibly the best time of the night. Almost assuredly with how he's playing at this point. And potentially the first deathless run of the night as well. Well, I mean, there's death right here in front of us, but you guys get what I mean.
Yeah, I guess technically no Castlevania run is a deathless run then.
Well, not unless you're playing some of the wacky, like, Metroidvania's one where you can like zip through the wall. I mean, there's like you go play Aria of Sorrow and some weird things can happen. But that's beside the point. We're here for CB4. That said, KenshinTrek making quick work of death once again, brushing him aside. Going to be walking up the steps at 33:30, if you can believe that. What a run. Doesn't even need the secret. He's going to grab some hearts and meet up here. Has plenty to work with. And we'll see what time he walks away with here for this one. Cypherin on his side in dire straits, only has 1 health, needs to grab the meat on the side here, but wants to get out of the clock tower as best as he can.
Cypherin earlier went for the boost off Medusa, trying to get the quick move. Oh, and Cypherin also getting the skipping through and clipping through the floor using the rings. Very nice. But earlier he had used the Medusa boost to try to get the single swing across that the chasm using the ring. The whip rings and wasn't able to pull it off, but it was definitely respected for going for that.
Agreed. He's moving on to Akmadon the second, and we have Dracula being kind of a bully to Kenshin, not giving him the best patterns overall, kind of locking him in the corner. However, Kenshin with plenty of health moving into Phase 2. This is going to be our first deathless run of the night from what it looks like here. He can play this nice and aggressive and put up a very impressive time. And what will happen is I will actually start a timer on my end. When he grabs the orb, we'll see what Cypherin walks away with then, adding that onto his time. And that's it. Final whip blow to Dracula. The sun's coming in to vanquish the horrible night. And that's a wonderful time from Kenshin. This might be sub-Funk Doc, possibly.
A very, very solid run. And then Cypherin now getting into the final stage. About to make the ascent to the boss rush as well.
3508. That is sub-Funk Doc. For what the people don't know about that, Funk Doc used to be, I believe, a former world record holder on SDA with a 3513. So 5 seconds underneath that, you just saw that take place. Very, very nicely done. GG's to Kenshin. First deathless run of the night. Put on a heck of a show for all of us. Showing what the upper level looks like. Cypherin, however, taking some difficult deaths there on stage. Be going for the bat boost, but getting hung up on the steps. But let's cheer him on, folks. We'll see how he does here with the final boss rush at this point. But again, GG's to Kenshin. Very well played.
Absolutely. GG's to Kenshin. Looking forward to see Cypherin finishing this one strong.
Agreed. Again, please keep your eyes up for the tournament, guys, and see when these matches are for Kenshin. He's going to put on a heck of a show like he's done tonight. This was just an exhibition. And we're having some fun to show what the game is like and what to expect with the tournament, guys. And I honestly expect great things from Kenshin. He'll make it probably pretty far if he plays as consistently as well as he did. He didn't go for everything. He didn't go completely crazy about it, but everything he went for, he nailed what he was doing for. Like I honestly did not see him get flustered at all. Like basically one time maybe was where something didn't go entirely right in I believe it was 8-2. Didn't look that the way he wanted it to, and even then that wouldn't have been some 35 even if he hit that entirely. But it's extremely well done. Cypherin, however, making it the stairs boss. He's got a couple of attempts at it, about half health. There are 2 pieces of meat up toward the top there, so he could grab the safety meat in the upper left-hand corner and have full health going into Slagra. He has the dagger. Oh, hugging the spike.
That hurts. Yeah.
Those have surprisingly large hitboxes for what it's worth.
Yeah, I believe Eagle Eye Jones was lamenting earlier today that he doesn't understand why touching the side of a spike would kill you, but Castlevania logic.
Yeah, pretty much. It's just an instant death. Is that if Simon sneezes near a spike, he's dead instantly. So he's going to be very careful. But we do see Cypherin has the dagger in tow. It's probably going to be doing a similar backup from what we saw here to get the backup cross in a very precarious situation, where you need to go on the whip ring, kind of go over, use the dagger on top, and then grab the cross and get back to where you need to go. It's a nice little backup. It definitely helps and saves a lot of time on the final bosses.
Yeah, that was a strat that I had to rely on to finish up on my run, just to grab that backup cross there. And he does it.
There he does it. Very clean. And the final areas that he's going up to, definitely going to be very wary of the spikes that would be hanging above his head. Going to give the skeleton potentially a hug, but backing off. Didn't take any damage from that, surprisingly.
You see Cypherin throwing the cross at a lot of candles, trying to rack up the number of hits so that he can start grabbing some extra multipliers before he faces Slagra.
Looks like he's on pace to get himself a 2-shot cross by the time he gets to Slagra, thankfully, and that's more than serviceable. And he is out of stairs, boss, opting to get these final candle hits. And now he's got the final checkpoint. So even if you would game over here casually, you would come back here. You don't need to go through and climb the stairs again. So after each of these bosses, there's a permanent checkpoint, which is quite nice.
Gets that double shot before the fight, which should help him just a bit.
Only sitting on a couple of hearts here, just a handful of what he's got. Looks like he's going to whip him down. Slagra can be very punishing, that if you do one too many whips, or if you're not crouching at the right time and he decides to raise his spear instantly, there's nothing you really can do. And you want to try to have as much health as possible going into phase 2, where he starts to get... Ooh! That was interesting. We saw a very rare attack from Slagra, the phase 1 dash, it looked like, but actually during that time he broke his spear to transition into phase 2, so he basically just slid across almost the entire screen. Cypherin, with 1 chunk of health left, has to take down 3 on Slagra. Oh man, here we go.
Please be kind, Slagra, please.
All right, and he abides, and Slagra is done by the skin of his teeth. It's Cypherin is done with the first true boss of the boss rush. 1 down, 3 to go. Moving on to Gaibon.
Let's see how this Gaibon fight goes. If you're able to place your crosses in the correct spots, Gaibon can go down very quickly, as we saw when in the Kenshin fight.
Here's a fun attack that you only ever see in this version. He doesn't have that in Soten. But yeah, it's kind of interesting that you go from Slagra, who's one of the most dangerous bosses in the entire game, and you go to Gaibon, who's one of the biggest pushovers.
And taking down Gaibon quite handily, with very little trouble. Moving on to the death fight.
He's got 4 hearts in tow. He'll grab the safety meat on the left-hand side and a couple of hearts on his way in. Should be more than enough that he'll need to deal with death. I imagine that he'll do pretty decently. However, things can get out of hand here if they don't go according to plan. But we'll likely see a trip to the Dracula's Secret before he heads out to fight Drac for the final fight.
Oh, couldn't quite get all the crosses placed in there.
He's now out of hearts. He's going to whip him down.
There we go. Good death fight.
Good recoveries overall, for what it's worth. I mean, it's definitely a good thing to see that amidst all the adversity, that Cypherin actually has things in his back pocket to kind of work with and roll with the punches of what CV will throw at you. So That being said, I mean, if you run this game enough and you think you know it and you're comfortable with it, this game will knock you down a peg and show you things you haven't seen, and and put you in very precarious situations yourself. So knowing where to get your backup crosses, find your meat, and be able to work with enemy patterns that are not the norm, that's kind of all part of things you have to have in your toolkit to be a good all-around runner. And I can guarantee you we're going to see some very interesting things during the tournament. People that are consistently very good runners are going to be dealing with some very strange situations. So, always exciting to watch these races and see what the game chooses to throw at them. Some unique situations, and see what people can actually come up with. But overall, we saw tonight, Kenshin put on an absolute clinic, did a great job showing what the game is capable of, and just consistently good strats overall. He's got to be happy about it. We'll see, maybe we can pull these guys in for an interview after this one's done. Cypherin trying to wrap things up, but getting some pretty rough patterns there with the fireballs. Trying to hold on as best as he can.
Cypherin definitely showing that he can adjust and work in the face of things not quite going the way you expect.
And speaking of, right now he's going to be very careful of this lightning. He does not have a lot of health. I'm kind of curious to see if we're going to see some pause strats, but it looks like he's going to hold on to it. Nicely done.
Finishes up very well. And finally we get to see once again that Dracula was just a bunch of bats in a cape all along.
I love it. It's so good. That being said, so one thing to note is that I think that was probably the first fight tonight that we saw a quote-unquote meatless Dracula, basically the way that he went about doing the damage. It wasn't good enough for... well, there's certain phases like in between that Dracula can actually throw out. Certain health values will start throwing meat out, and the way that he did the damage, he actually skipped both of those phases. And that being said, I have 8 minutes and 12 seconds on my clock, and we can apply that to Kenshin's time, so that would leave Cypherin with a 43:20. If my math is correct here. Yeah, 43:20 would be his final time. Very good.
Very good, and congratulations to both runners. Great shows of skill, and we'll look forward to getting their takes on how they felt the runs went. We'll get them on here shortly.
It looks like that we're already joined in here. They're just kind of hanging out, just waiting for us to introduce them and let them in the booth. Greetings, guys. Welcome on in. KenshinTrek, we'll start with you. Kenshin, what a run. Deathless, Sub-Funk Doc, 3508. How are you feeling about that one? I would definitely agree. It was very, very well executed. The only time I noted you actually looking somewhat flustered was actually in 8-2, where you actually jumped down and you kind of got caught, and then like on the stairs, and Medusa kind of hit you, and you just kind of had to wait a little bit for that. I don't think that's enough for you to have been sub 35, but I could tell there that was not what you wanted to do.
I want to say that there was a spot in stage 7. I forget exactly where it was. I think it was where you're dealing with the bats coming through in the paintings, and there was something that happened there. I remember kind of seeing you kind of having to go into backup mode there for a short bit, but you still handled it quite well.
If I recall correctly, my bats in stage 7 were okay. The only mistake that I think I had in stage 7 was at the beginning. At the beginning, after I climbed the first set of stairs, I got hit by a ghost for a mistake, and I had to back up for a moment. But as far as I remember, my bats were correct in there. I'll have to rewatch it. Yeah.
It's really hard to recall everything that happened in a run when you're in the moment. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. My stage A was terrible. I lost so much time in stage A because I pretty much chickened out for a couple of strats that I should have gone for. But yeah, it was nice. Also, Mami was kind of a trolley.
I will ask you, Kenshin, here. Was this a preview of what we should expect for you in the tournament itself? Like, are these the strats that you're going to use? Or are you going to go a little more hard for the tournament itself, but maybe throw in a one frame jump or a book jump?
Let me tell you this: my goal is to have a 34. As far as I have a 34 XX time, I will be satisfied. The mere fact that I had a 3508 here, it's kind of weird. I should have got a 34. I will have to rewatch this race in order to see what I did incorrectly and why I got a 35. But pretty much this is what I'm gonna go for in the tournament. As far as long as I get a 34 XX, I will be satisfied.
Very good, and that's actually a pretty good lesson for you fine folks here too. Go back and watch your runs. Look
Yep.
for areas of
pretty
weakness
much.
to learn from. It's a
Mhm.
very good thing to do.
Mhm.
Well, thank you, Kenshin. Very, very good job overall. Cypherin, how are you doing, sir? How are you feeling after that one? You were showing a lot of backups and a lot of poise amidst adversity.
Yeah.
GG
Yeah.
Cypherin.
GG
Well
to
done.
you. Yeah, great job, Kenshin. Yeah, we gotta hit up the lab big time. But it yeah, there's a lot of like, okay, how are we gonna do this? Or let me try this. And it's like, okay, a lot of stuff where yeah, just things didn't go as planned, or it was like, let me just try this out really quick, which I gotta make sure to get out of that mindset when it comes race time. Like there was a death that there was actually two deaths I think in stage A that I was like, that oh my god, that should have never that should have never happened. One was on top of the stairs after the bat bridge. Like I was like, I should take these stairs safe. But I didn't think to actually hold down and right to go down the stairs. I held like up or something and I caught the stairs, but then it's like I walked up and then walked off the stairs and into my death.
Yeah, I saw that.
I was just like, what the
Oh
heck?
man.
Yeah, it was there was a lot of moments like that. But
Yeah.
overall I'm okay. Like I'm happy with this. I've feels like a nice warm up and I'm ready to dive in if there's others who want to race as well. But
Well,
yeah, definitely have to go back to the lab for sure.
Well, so just two things to throw out here then. Number one is, Cypher, since your timer didn't actually go off, I actually started my timer after Kenshin grabbed the orb. And on my clock, I had 8 minutes and 12 seconds after that. So applying that to what he had, then it looks like that was a 43:20 for you.
Okay. Yeah, that's actually what threw me off in the beginning too, was because I was trying to get my timer going. I noticed that someone mentioned the timer's not going, and then I was trying to get it, and I got killed, I think, on the Medusa heads, like with the flipping. What was it? On stage 1 where you had the flipping boards.
Yeah, I saw that too. That was a rough way to start things off, and kind of was a taste of things to come in the run, unfortunately.
Yeah, yep. It definitely set a domino effect, but it's all good.
I think we actually have a question from the chat asking what happened to the meet in 6. I don't know if that's a question for Cypher. I'm assuming
That's
it
for
is.
Cypher, yes.
Yeah. That was another thing that blew my mind. Was like after I took some damage, I was like, okay, let's go back for the safety.
Oh, I forgot about that.
And the wall, like you saw a piece of the wall destroyed, but the rest of the wall just wouldn't like come. It just wouldn't break up. And I'm like, hello game, give me, what are you doing to me? And so I said, just let me just calm down, diddly calm down, just keep moving, keep going straight. And we somehow survived, which I'm thankful for. But yeah, that I've never seen that before.
Even amidst all that, I mean, that was still a sub 45 run, and like that's really good, all things considered, with everything that had happened. I mean, and also I've never seen that happen before, where the wall appears to have gotten stuck, or you despawn the wall meat, or something happened with it. It was just absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
So
that run was special. It was very special.
Well, guess what, my friend? Looks like you have a chance to potentially redeem yourself. It looks like, for you fine folks that are here, we have a fourth race that's going to happen this evening. Cypherin is going to go ahead and hop back in again against Lord Fancyputs. So stick around if you want to see more CV4 action.
Cool.
I will stick around for sure and watch the next race. Yeah.
Glad to have you here. Kenshin, again, GG. What a wonderful run. That's going to be a tough one to top here, even going into the tournament itself, a 35.08 in the exhibition round. Looking
Thank you
forward
very
to
much.
seeing you play too.
Thank you very much. Yeah. GG's to Cypherin, and we will see you next time.
Same to you. GG's, Kenshin.
Okay. Bye. Bye for now. Have a
Catch you
nice
later,
rest
Kenshin.
of the night.